All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Let me know you can hear me. All right, good morning, guys. Quick sound check. Oh, I guess it works. I normally have that muted. All right, sweet. Well, let's see what we got. Kind of debating whether we should look at gold longs in this area here and see if we can't push this back to overnight highs. I thought I marked it, but maybe I didn't. 56, 26, 80. This is overnight high from last night back here in gold. I'll go ahead and put that on the chart now. So yeah, 56, 26, 80 is there. That gives us like, I don't know, 70 points worth of room from here, give or take, that I think we can move. So I'm going to keep gold on watch. Silver here is kind of running away. I'm going to cover the metals first. And we're at 121.1 here in silver. So crazy move so far. Total range on the day already is like $3.30. So this thing is certainly moving. I don't think we can look at those and markets in general here without looking at bonds. So bonds here just look like they want to continue to go lower. So bonds lower, rates higher. I don't really know what that correlation has to do at the moment with the overall like Fed rate and things like that. But I did expect a larger move out of this. So I'm going to keep an eye on this throughout the day, like at certain points. And if we get any kind of heavy buying pressure in here, then I'm probably going to either look to take a step back from indices or look to see if there's some type of divergence or something kind of setting up in there. And this giving us a potential like kind of early Q. If we continue to drop in here, that's what I think makes the most sense from a chart perspective and all the things. So that's what I would like to see. But if we do start, getting something crazy going in here, then I want to pay attention to it. And a nice little start there in gold making that push. So we're about to crack these 55.70s little intraday highs just now that we set. Silver 121.13s, sweet. So in terms of equities here, I'm a little bit mixed on viewpoint just because I'm somewhat thinking we might try and fail, which is not like the normal thought process here, but we've got this 69.92s in place for S&Ps. We did come down and trade it yesterday. We're now essentially smack dab in the middle between 70.40s above and the 69.92s below. So we've got about 30 points to the upside and about 22 odd points to the downside, whatever it is. So I don't love where S&Ps are, hence why I led with the gold and silver talks there. In the NASDAQ here, we've got this 26,076 level in place, and we kind of front ran it in the overnight session. We came down here, we traded this is basically 85, so like 9-10 points front run of this level. And we're kind of looking like in pre-market now we might want to kind of push back down towards that area before being able to really do anything and kind of check back into some of this move from yesterday. And if that's going to be, I say that to say that if that's going to be the case and NASDAQ is going to fail today, then the trade in which I like is going to be in Tesla here. So in Tesla, under 423s, 423.60 467s. I think we opened up the door for potentially like 408, 47s. So we've got some room in there. At the moment, I'm not interested in longs unless we get up over 439s, and realistically, even better up over 450s, but I don't see that necessarily happening today. So I'm going to be a little bit less interested in Tesla overall today, even though, yes, it did have earnings and all the things. I just don't love where it's gapping to. And it's kind of the same thing for Microsoft here. This is a weak name or weak gap at the moment, getting a pretty decent gap to the downside. So if we do start to see continuation there to the downside, then I'd be open to doing something. The other weak names in which we had earlier this week have kind of started to rally some of that back, like UNH and stuff. So for me, I think it's Microsoft and Tesla for the downside. If NASDAQ does want to fail, we got 17 seconds. On the other hand, I like the Russell over 6880s, but I would prefer that we go down and trade 2640s first and then get back up over 68s later in the day, and we can try longs. Holy shit, that was loud. We can try longs later on in the day. So we'll see if that ends up being the case here or not. But I'm a little bit sit on hands at the moment and kind of let this figure itself out for a couple minutes here. See what we want to do. Microsoft first initial move lower. Tesla a little topping tail pulling back. Russell unfortunately is rallying. That is not what you were supposed to do. All right, Dow getting rejected here. There's a lot of like resistance. There's a zone up here, 223s to 254s. What's up, Tyler? The Russell just came down. Tag that 6880s now getting a bit of a push off that. I'm not interested in the longs there. It could be a mistake. I just don't think that the low of day in there is going to occur within the first 3 minutes of the day here. Dow getting a little bit of love. Meta pulling back some. Microsoft still pulling back. NASDAQ coming down. There is still this 912 level. I've thought about this a little bit too. And we front ran this the other day. This 912.50s. It wouldn't be a bad little spot for us to kind of trade down into. What you mean, do they COMEX the exchange? Silver. Bonds still doing their thing. Yeah, Nvidia getting a little love. Tesla rejected hard off that 439.82s there. The Dow, however, is really liking this move now. The Dow is feeling itself. I guess I wouldn't be totally opposed to a Dow long. It's got room to that little overnight high spike up there at 428s. So if we can get a decent pullback in here, let it finish whatever this is it's trying to do at the moment, but we're at 337s. It's running away, unfortunately. NASDAQ catching a little weakness. Like I said, I don't think that we rally first thing. It looks like that obviously in the Dow. The Dow, I'm interested in pullbacks. The Russell, I'm halfway interested in shorts off 68.80s. But I don't really want to be short the Russell when NASDAQ trades at 912. Gold didn't quite pop those lows. Happy to stay away in the Russell there. The Dow needs more pullback than what it's got, unfortunately. Like I said, I think the Nasdaq still wants to make that push down into 912s here. That low is 917 quarters from the other day. It's not that far. It's 100 points from here. Russell's making a pretty bold statement now that it definitely wants to hold that 6880s, and Dow is wanting those overnight high spike. It's got room to 752s if the Dow really wants to move today. We just obviously need an entry here to be able to do anything with it, which is the unfortunate part. Meta pulling back. Tesla rejected that 439.82s really well. And it's about to crack that 423s. What a move in the Dow. Total range 283 points so far. Nasdaq in the 912s and S&P's holding 69.92s wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I wouldn't be mad at that. Dow did just trade those overnight highs. I was gonna say it's not my favorite trade, but if you want to be aggressive, I don't know that Nasdaq gives it to us. I was gonna say if it pops back up into 26.076s, you could short it for a move down to 912s, but I don't actually know that it's gonna give it to us. Maybe Russell on a pullback if Nasdaq trades those 912s. Wouldn't be terrible timing. Gold's right back at opening print. These moves, I mean, they look tiny on the 2-minute chart. That's like a 20 couple point move right there. It's like 24 points. Just like that little, this 5-minute range bar right here is 37 points. Like these are not small moves. They're not small moves by any means. Yeah, 966.50s is in there as well. We just front ran that 912 the other day. So it kind of makes sense that we come back and test it. Nvidia gave it all back. Meta slowly fading the gap. S&P's under 69.92s. Russell back at opening print. Yeah, I think we stay patient here still. Russell right back on the level. Pretty aggressive move lower in the Dow there now too. We had Russell and Dow making new highs, S&Ps and Nasdaq not. I don't necessarily have the balls for this, but the Dow back in this zone for longs. I think the chart's a little bit screwed up for it, so I personally don't want to take it even because of that. And I still think Nasdaq's headed to 912s. But I wouldn't be totally opposed to Russell shorts off 68.80s. Again, still a delicate kind of timeline there. There's 912s for Nasdaq. Looks like Dow made new lows. Well, we didn't capture any shorts, but we definitely avoided any kind of potential for longs there, although the Dow would have worked at least up to that overnight high. Does Nasdaq hold here or not, right? That's the question. That was our plan. So far, it's working. 910.50 on lows. So 912's certainly in play. I just didn't expect to see the Dow come back like 300 points. I kind of thought the S&Ps would hold that 69.92s. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, that's damn near a 100-point bounce. There's 90-point bounce so far off the level for Nasdaq. The thing is, we haven't traded the 314s yet in regular trading hours. So I'm kind of the belief that if we can essentially hold here, we can go back and get that. I'm gonna try a little NASDAQ long off these 966s here. We'll see if we can't hold that with the Russell holding off 6880s. It's going to be rather quick if we fail. Essentially right down here under these 45s. And I'm flat. Probably should wait for a trigger. Do as I say, not as I do type of thing here. The question is if we fail here, yeah, I mean, if we fail here, there's really nowhere. Really nowhere to go. I'm still kind of the thinking that we hold this area and can rally from here. But I'm going to allow it to prove itself a little bit more. I tried taking the first like little retest of the level break back through 966s. Obviously that didn't work. I'm kind of coming back down here now to make what looks like potentially new lows just now. NASDAQ only market to actually make those new lows too. We either hold here. Silver's back at opening print. We either hold here, we're kind of in trouble. Like there's not much beneath here. It's kind of a problem. It's kind of a problem. All right. Nice reaction out of the Dow now. It's a little bit wider of a stop than I would really love here. Excuse me, for long attempts in the NASDAQ, but I think it's here. We got a nice little move out of the Dow now coming out of those lows. S&Ps aren't quite back above 69.92s yet. If you don't mind a 40, 50 point stop here, I think NASDAQ is okay. And if this low doesn't hold, then obviously we're in trouble. I'm gonna wait and see if we can't get back over 966s here and kind of look to let this get an actual higher low as opposed to essentially trying to time the bottom. There is a slight divergence here, which I like. But I think there's a real shot from us trading from 912s back up to those 314s. So there is good risk reward. I'm just going to give it a little extra time here. I think S&Ps might have broke. Yeah, they did break new lows there too. NASDAQ coming right back down. NASDAQ new lows. Tennessee whiskey. NASDAQ getting rocked. Hmm. Well, we did get the move down here to 912s. I expected 912s to hold a little bit better. That first reaction there was good for like 90 couple points and then completely gave that up. Which is quite ugly. Oh, the problem from here is like, where do we go? I do kind of think the Russell still goes to that 2640s. It's probably being a little bit too cautious up here when NASDAQ traded that off 912s. Yikes. Yikes. This market is moving. What a move. I was gonna say it this morning, but I had a friend of mine texting me legitimately at 9:24, and he says they are about to set a higher price on silver. This is how we hit $300 an ounce. And I responded and said, I'm kind of thinking we put in a bit of a short-term top this / next week and get a pullback. We were printing 121s at the time. Oh, I even forgot to look at Tesla. Son of a biscuit. NASDAQ didn't quite trade the way I thought it would to get down here. I guess we still have those overnight Sunday lows. Where'd those come into play at? Oh, they way down here. That's 68.79 for S&Ps. Can we get more than like a little 2-minute rally back to test the level now? Like that would be fantastic, but it doesn't look like it. Excuse me. You still holding those shorts, Joe? Nice. Where's the Sunday overnight lows here for NASDAQ? Oh, they way down here. 365 quarters. The Dow doesn't seem to care as much though. Like the Dow doesn't seem to care honestly at all. Whether that holds true if NASDAQ drops another like 400 points or not is a different story. Should have just long copper. Yeah. Like this is the tough part about a short from here is like yeah, S&P's just retested 56 quarters, but it's like we just dropped like 70 points. So even just a quick little 10-point pullback, it's like I'm not super interested in that. Like I think from here, I'm certainly open to a short from 56 quarters, but we would need to spend some time here and kind of digest a little bit of this move and then be able to provide an entry in order to short it. Yeah, I am. I kind of lost track of it, but it looks like it's pretty much right between 439s and 423s. A little pop just now. It doesn't make a ton of sense considering market. Microsoft down 11% today, though, is, I don't think, a good thing. That's a hefty move down in gold. that go? The Dow's got excuse me, 48,912s below. You got to give it to the market though. We took out 912s relatively easy. Like we could certainly use a little bit of a bounce from here. S&Ps are at those 56 quarters. Meta's probably going to take some time to digest this gap. Ideally, we get a pullback to like 701s over the next day or so. Russell still wants that 2640s. I was a little bit early on that short the other day, but we're getting there. What's crazy is ticks never really got out of control on this move down. It's been super orderly, like minus 400s with a peak at minus 550s. So we really didn't get too excited anywhere. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, to be honest with you. Ticks are just measuring the upticks versus downticks of the equities. How many names are ticking up versus down at a time. Apple earnings come out, give us a gap over this entire red bar we're about to form. Would be nuts. Everything's still pushing lows. A 6E short. Trading some forex over there. Wow, gold gave it all back. Am I tripping? 53.50s. Damn. That's a 200-point gold move to the downside off that opening print just now. That's impressive. That is impressive. Market looks like it's just taking a little breather here before this next push to the downside. Silver's at 112. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, look at 6E. Nice. What's crazy is even on a micro position, the gold's moving 20, it's moved $2,700 per micro contract today. Total range 271 points. Like, that's kind of outrageous. It means it's moving 27,000 per contract on a normal full size contract. Silver range is $10. So yeah, on a full size contract, it's 50 G's. Holy. Full port silver? Just kidding. Just kidding. Nice, good work, dude. Yeah, I'd imagine they are. They would almost have to be. GLD probably moved what? 20 bucks? Yeah, $24. It's crazy. We stopped right at that 485.61. S&P is trying to work back to 56s here. S&P is back at 56s. NASDAQ still has some room to go, though. Do we try and catch a falling knife in gold and silver today? Or does it do, the question is, does it do the thing it's done every other time it's had a move like this, which is immediately basically take it all back? Or is today different and it continues to drop? Like, can it hold is the question. S&P is rejecting off 56s. I can't bring myself to short that at the moment. I mean, I get that the room is basically 100 points to the downside, but I can't bring myself to do it at the moment. Damn, it's already the 29th. Anybody feel like this month just like flew by? Like the first month of the year is basically almost over. S&P still hanging at this 56 level. Gold's at the 52.89s. Looks like it is going to struggle with it maybe. I don't think there's a level here in silver, is there? No, there's nothing there in silver. Wow. Wow. 50 points straight through the level. Wow. We might see a lot more downside out of this today because this is getting a little bit, it's getting a little bit wild. Holy shit. Right? We were legit just looking at 52.89s as the level. We dipped 150, 160 points through there. That's insanity. What did silver do? 108. Yeah, no, that's an insane move. Meanwhile, S&P's rejected off that 56s again. Yeah, no, I know they're insane. It's almost like I was watching, it's almost like the bids just completely freaking vanished. S&P's new lows, down new lows. I'm still sitting here twiddling thumbs with no freaking shorts on. We're getting close to that 948, 912s here for the Dow. But we still have, I mean, we have 6933s here for the S&Ps. NASDAQ new lows there. I'm not super interested in trying to pick a bottom in this market, but I would like to see us like take some time here and digest this move and then look to do something, which has kind of been the theme of the week for us. It's worked and then it's not worked. Yikes. You look down at your phone for a minute and gold's moved another 100 points. Like that is insanity. Dow's down here into this 48, 912s. Again, not super interested in doing anything here. It was certainly holding up strong earlier, but definitely not in the way in which you would want to see it now necessarily, considering I still think there's potential for like another, I don't know, 500 points for NASDAQ maybe. Overnight lows are 365, so that's 350 points from here. I don't know what that equates to on Qs. I guess we probably could have looked at Q options earlier. Well, that's probably my fault. 609.75s. Wowzers. Looks like Russell's about to tag this 2640 area. I don't know if it's possible for NASDAQ to go there today or not, but I did say if we broke those 912s, there's really nothing, legitimately nothing down here. I mean, 206s is below, that's 500 points. We got a total range on the day right now of 494 points, so we just have to do essentially one more of these and we're there. Wow. What was that I said this morning? I'm kind of thinking market might want to fail. Literally type that in the chat. If only I listened to that guy. I mean, we had FOMC yesterday, so like I kind of expected a larger move today, but I kind of expected a 912 test and then back to 314s. I didn't really anticipate this necessarily. Did anybody catch a good portion of this drop? Like, am I the only one that's sitting over here with nothing at the moment, or are we all crying in our coffees? I don't know where I was going with that. Some scalp shorts from 56s. Nice. Gold move is nuts. Yeah, the Q's options are definitely insanity right now. The Dow's maybe trying to hold this 912. Russell's maybe trying to hold this 40-20s here. NASDAQ, on the other hand, though, does not look like that is the case. I say that, and Russell just pushed straight lower. Hello. Did you capture some of the short, Joe? More of it? All this before Apple certainly is interesting. Tesla 410 puts. You know, I kind of would have expected more from Tesla to the downside with this much of a break under 912s in the Nasdaq. Like, I don't know if that's just me being a little bit greedy from the idea, but I kind of would have expected more. Um, yeah, Tesla does look good. Oh, I'm kind of kicking myself here. Where'd those cues just go? I think it's the only way in which to put something on here. Those are now 30 cents. Those are now 30 cents. They were like 12 cents, 13 cents just a few minutes ago. Like, what? We also just moved like 100 points again in NASDAQ. The good news is I don't know how this works out. The good news is Apex is 90% off. So if you blew your funded account or your evals today, Apex is giving you that 90% off deal. And somehow them releasing that yesterday was just perfect timing right in front of a massive move like this. Total range on the day for NASDAQ, 565 points. That's a big move. The Dow's managing to kind of hold this 912s here a little bit. And I don't necessarily say that I want to get in the way of this market move here, but I wouldn't be opposed to Dow longs if we can hold 912s. We could very easily right now just be rallying back up and going to reject 912s and go lower and kind of all that. And in that case, I'm obviously not interested in doing anything with it yet. But if we do manage to hold here and we can rally, set a little bit of a higher low or something, then I'm open to the idea of doing something in there. Only with the fact that we have a 620 point range in there, and I don't think it would be too crazy to see us get back to opening print at a minimum, which is what, 250 points away. So it's interesting. It's of interest. Market weak though overall. So again, not trying to be too aggressive on the long side. Yes, 100 points down from opening print. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big move. It is a big move. Nasdaq still making the move. Nice, good work. I fumbled the bag today. I fumbled the bag. In a big way. In a big way, unfortunately. You're 45 points lower in S&Ps off those 56s. Like, essentially all of the things. Even my, why is my Google Maps not working right? Shit. Oh, NASDAQ. Those options are back to 37 cents now. They did just dip down to like 22s there. Bonds did get a little bit of love today. Not as much as I would have thought given this NASDAQ move, unfortunately. I don't even want to look anymore. Oh man. Microsoft down 11.97%. That's a rather aggressive move. The Q625s. Oh yeah, I would imagine that you said they paid 20x for sure. I mean the 615s like earlier today, if you would have picked them up. I mean you could have picked them up for 20 cents. They're currently, I mean you could pick them up actually a little bit lower than that, honestly, but yeah, they're like $1.15 right now. If we do manage to like pull back here, meaning that we can rally, we can rally up a little bit, then I think that there's a potential for a trade in the 610 puts on Qs, and just assuming that we crash into the end of the day. I still am kind of keeping an eye on this Dow position, or not position, I haven't put anything on yet, but just the idea of maybe doing something up over 912s. If it's time for a little bit of a reprieve, a little bit of a bounce, we could see a nice kind of 250 point move in there. I don't think that'd be too terrible to kind of play for there. So at the moment, though, I'm not doing anything with it. That was one of our biggest tick readings on the day there. We pushed up to plus 600s just now. I wouldn't be opposed to like, yeah. I'm kind of thinking it's one of those days where we're just going to have to wait until like 11:45, 12 o'clock, something like that. See if we can't get a little bit more bounce out of this in order for shorts. The problem, again, the problem is we're too far down to short, but at the same time, we're also too weak to try and long this. So it's like kind of a little catch-22 situation where we gotta kind of stick it out through this. Uh, silver's at 110. What if silver comes all the way back? That would be crazy. Um, it hasn't been a bad month. Um, but it certainly has been less larger trades than I would like it to be. Like we've had the opportunity to get like a couple of those like 8 and 10 hour trades, just unfortunately either A, they didn't work, or B, just didn't get an entry into them, which has been kind of frustrating. Um, and essentially like that first, I mean, New Year's, all that stuff, we didn't really do anything. But it definitely has been a little bit more of a, I will say gold has been the savior. The, yeah, I mean, we caught 25-point move in gold the other day. I had 35 points in gold, not last night, but night before. So like that has certainly helped quite a bit. But yeah, individual equity names, we've had a couple decent trades, but nothing like super crazy, which is unfortunate. But it's kind of to be expected, right? Like we're leading into earnings season, which essentially we're now in. Um, we're now in the thick of earnings season here. We got Apple coming out tonight, right? Thursday. For some reason, my days are like jacked up this week. Meta, Microsoft, Tesla, which so far is a pretty mixed bag. Like Meta's up 7%, Tesla's down 3%, and Microsoft's down 12%. So it's like kind of Apple's really like just anyone's guess at this point. Like I kind of had a bias for the upside this week, and then now I'm kind of like, I don't really know. But I think I say that to say that I think that's going to obviously change once we can get some clearer direction and get a couple of these names out and moving. I mean, we got a 20-point range on the day in a name like AMD, right? So there's some rather large moves, and I will say, I don't think this is the type of move that we want to try and like fade initially. Like this could actually be something a bit different. So I'm like, we should have held 912s much better than we did today. So I'm really trying to like stay on my stay on my P's and Q's here and not push buttons, which is, I would like to push buttons here just purely based on the volatility we have. But at the same time, I also wanted to push those same buttons for shorts up at 56s and S&Ps. And here we are, 50 points lower. And it's like, all right, we're kind of handcuffed at this point. Like there's not much we can really do with that. So I'm just trying to be patient for something here to set up, which ideally is a rally, and then we can short for a move into the afternoon. Is kind of my thinking. I guess there's risk of this government shutdown. Meta, I will say, is holding up surprisingly well today. Pullbacks in there are most likely going to be longs. They're going to be buying opportunities for realistically probably move back up into 800. 796s is those all-time prior highs. All right. Yeah. We've got those overnight lows down there. S&P is rallying back up to 69.33s there. Or at least back towards it. This was that Globex low from Sunday night, 43.90s. The question is whether or not it's worth looking to potentially scalp this back up or not. I think that the Dow potentially there is something to be said there, though. We've got a couple minutes left. See if we can't manage to hold this 912s. And if we can, then I wouldn't be opposed to doing something from there. Again, the move being back up into opening print at least at 150 gives us about 250 points to work with from 912. It's either that or we just continue to keep pushing and don't do anything for us. What's that look like? And I'm not saying this is what I think is going to happen here, but what does that potentially look like if we rally this whole thing back? Yeah, that could certainly be the case. I mean, I'm kind of looking at it. That was probably it there, right off like 44. Quick 10-point pullback so far in S&Ps there. Russell's at 2640s now. 912s. For the Dow. Traded 912s exactly there. I don't know. It's a tough long. It's a tough short from here. I got a little bit more time. I'm just going to sit and be patient with it. This would be where Russell can hold 40-20s again. The Dow retest to the tick of 912 is like not my favorite. Kind of wanted to see that do something a little bit different here. S&Ps are just hanging right at the 69.33s. It sounds crazy, but it kind of looks like gold wants to rip back to the upside. It's got a am I seeing that right? 455 point range day in gold. Holy shnikes. I texted my buddy a screenshot of silver going from basically 121 when he said that. When he texted it this morning, down to 110 was where I grabbed the screenshot at. And I was like, hey, you called the top. He's like, it'll come back. And if it does come back today, that would be impressive. Russell. Russell's not gonna make it. I say that, and then Russell does that. $36.90s is that low? It's too wide. Uh, the Dow looks like it wants to get that pop, but all we got was that one little small check of 912s. On the other hand, S&Ps here pretty much stuck right at the 69.33, so we're not getting much of a pop from there either. um, well, I like the idea of Dow longs, but I don't like the idea of Dow longs while S&Ps might reject off here. I think what ends up happening is we can push a little bit higher still in the Dow. I just don't have an entry here to be able to do anything with. So this is going to make the run kind of do its thing without us at this point. But we look like we're going back to opening print. If we do a full turnaround in the Dow today, though, that would be impressive. That high there was 37. We hit 37 quarters, so we matched that high. If we short that, we got about a 4-point stop on this thing. I don't really want to do that at the moment. It's not a day where I feel like being aggressive enough about it, but if you are, shorts here off 33, stops over that 37 quarter high we just made, and targets would essentially be these lows and then down into 68, 79s. And given the current track record here on the day, it probably works. The only thing that I don't love is the strength for the short necessarily is the strength potentially in the Russell and the Dow. What's up? How are you? I still kind of think this Russell's potentially a long from here, but the same time, I don't think it is. Kind of looks like we're gonna have like a spike. Although the Dow 15 minutes in a very interesting like spot here. But it looks like we're about to get a little spiky action. The Russell pushed back up here off 4020s. I don't know how far that goes, but it's looking like it wants to get started. Somehow Dow not really participating in this. S&P's popped to 3950s. Part of me thinks we should set up a couple evals. Just try and scalp this gold and silver move. Nice. I wish we wouldn't have opened above 68.80s today for the Russell, because we could have saved that for tomorrow with room back to 27.45. So there's like 100 points from here that the Russell could move technically. But Russell's making a nice move off this 4020 so far. It's actually doing a little bit better than the Dow now. S&P is going to reject 33s here, maybe. Oh, we might end up walking away here. Should we full port some evals here though and see what happens? It's kind of probably the smarter decision than to put real capital at risk. Yeah, VIX decent move lower. This move in the Russell is still catching my attention. It's kind of odd that we're now making the move in the Russell and we're not making it really anywhere else just yet. Dow's only down 0.23% on the day. Russell's only down 0.52% on the day. So I think the Russell and the Dow are going to try and rally this back. We're just stuck in that spot where S&Ps could just die. We did, however, make a really nice move off those lows. I mean, we're 350 points off lows for the Dow at this point. No, I didn't get a piece of it, unfortunately. I hesitated on the shorts there from 56 in the S&Ps earlier. Kind of seems like we're stalling out here in S&Ps. All right, I'm gonna take a quick walk. I'll be right back, and then we'll kind of see where this wants to go. Looks like we're starting to get a bit of that rally now, and S&Ps here finally got above that 69.33s and continuing to kind of push there. So no shorts in there, no long entries either in the Dow. The Russell gave one off that 40-20. I just didn't pull the trigger on it, unfortunately. So that's up like 10, 11 points or so at the moment. I'm still just going to remain patient here. It's kind of a weird spot, and I don't want to get trapped in either direction. I'm slightly bullish bias just based on the Russell and the Dow. But I was a little bit bearish biased on the S&Ps from 69.33, so that kind of held me back in one way or the other. And we'll just look to see if this wants to do its thing. I do think there's an interesting opportunity here now that I'm thinking about it. Let me see what these options for Qs are for tomorrow. The 636s for tomorrow, they're 17 cents. So if you do think that Apple is going to go like through the roof tomorrow or after the bell today, and you think NASDAQ's going right back up to 636s, which pre-market highs the other day were 637.71s, they're 17 cents at the moment. I guess the other way you could play that would be potential Apple options, but they're obviously going to have a little bit of premium to them. That SNDK thing comes out after the bell as well. So in Apple, you'd be thinking like somewhere up over 261s potentially. Those options are a little bit more expensive, obviously. Let's see what this SNDK thing is doing. 250 to 540. You taking those options? I don't blame you. I'm kind of gonna look to see. IWM here has room to 271. Doesn't really have the catalyst though, is the only problem. Dow almost back to that open. Russell making a better move than I expected off those 40-20s compared to everything else. I'm gonna put those Qs in a window here. Let me just see something real quick. Talk about that since it gets S&P is rallying back up there to 69.56s now. The Dow is almost back to opening print here. And NASDAQ starting to make a decent little move there. I feel like I missed the boat on longs, which is going to be super unfortunate if I miss the shorts this morning. There's still a lot of room here in NASDAQ though. 132 is above. The question is, can we go from here back up to 314s? Those which ones was I looking at? The 636s for tomorrow. I didn't pull the trigger on these yet. Can I get an order to go there? Thank you. I grabbed a couple of them. All right, I did a little bit of that. I'm pretty much about tired out with this market though. We do look like we have a rally back happening in gold and silver though. That's wild. 200 plus point moves in gold is Imagine we go back to 56.26s. It's still 200 points from here, 260 points from here in gold. I'm gonna let that NASDAQ position work. We just took Q calls, and I think at the moment it makes sense that we try to go back to 314s, but at the same time we were also super weak today. So I'm not going to be too surprised if we go back down and revisit these lows and get those overnight lows that are untested. But at the same time, we also have this 26,349 overnight high up here that's untested as well. So we're kind of stuck. We got about 550 points to the upside. And we've got about 600 points to the downside. So it's like we're in this spot here where we could basically move 550 points up or 600 points down. The Russell and the Dow kind of lead me to think that we're going to rally this. So I'm going to allow that to continue to kind of be the guide there. It could be, the problem with days like this is like it could be an absolutely massive day. It could be a huge green day in terms of P&L, right? Is 500 points to the downside in NASDAQ. There was every bit of 50 points in the S&Ps. Like there's now a rally back up. We're up, off 2640s in the Russell. We're up 20 points already. That's $1,000 per contract. So days like this are like super tough, especially if you took a small little shot like I did off 912s, well technically off 966s after 912s printed, stuff like that. Like there is a element of FOMO in this that is rather unfortunate and difficult to navigate. But at the end of the day, it's like, all right, is the best trade that I'm going to take from right here, or is there a potential like another opportunity for this like tomorrow, another day, right? What's up, Shadow? When you creating content, bro? I need some shadow content. I took the 636s in queues for tomorrow. They're like 22, 23 cents right here. Nothing crazy. Yeah, metals had a massive move. Metals had a massive move today. It looked like we're still making moves on it too. It really looks like NASDAQ wants this move. This is kind of absurd. I mean, I won't be upset by it if we make the move. If we make the move to those highs, those contracts basically go. I mean, $2.25. They're basically 10xers. It's essentially a 10x. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things this chart could have done a little bit better. We technically did. I mean, we did fail the 15. Oh, never mind. I'm looking at gold. I don't know why that didn't change. Yeah, I guess no, we didn't. What was that? That was a super delayed. That was super delayed. That was gold over 53.39s. We broke that like 15 minutes ago. That was this little pivot high back over in here. I don't know. Let gold run, I guess. Let NASDAQ run, let gold run. I was honestly debating about going either today or tomorrow and unloading some physical. It's a 37.5-minute bar in gold there. That's pretty nuts. 98.80s. No, we didn't quite break that yet. Dow sitting right on that opening print. Should we try a Dow? I feel like it's a little aggressive at the moment. I want to do something so bad. That's not the norm for me either. The blinky lights are all over the place. And I would like to do something, but I don't know. I don't know if I can. That low is 17. It's like 30 points. We did just pop highs and now failing that a little bit, so I'm gonna try a little bit of NASDAQ. I'm gonna go tiny position size here. I'm gonna use like kind of a little varied stop on this. I'm gonna have some under 36 and then some under 17. Let's see if we can't get the continuation off of this little 5-minute 1, 2, 3. Nice. We pushed down into 34s there. I'm trying to hold still. And Dow's still sitting right here at, well, sweet. All right, if NASDAQ can make the move here, this low 34 quarters will become the new all stop on this. We just got a new hourly bar there. Ideally, we can hold this and get it to continue to push. Again, it's an aggressive later style entry. 5-minute 1, 2, 3 there. There's about 300 points back to opening print though, so I'm willing to give it the 15, 20 points here worth of risk that it needs, or that I think it needs, in order to try and capture that. Not my favorite entry after we just rallied whatever we rallied off the lows. 300 points. But nice. Anybody grab that with me? Nice. Good work. Those options are also like 27 cents by 28 cents now. If we get back to opening print, those things might get close to like $1, $1.50 on the day. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself at the moment, but Oh, do we cut it or do we let it have it? The risk reward is like so good here, but I'm gonna close it here, minus a couple points. I'm just gonna wait. We had what I thought was gonna be a really good. It should not have pulled back right there. If it was gonna continue to make that move, we probably should not be pulling back right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull it, save myself the potential on the stop, I think, which would be under those 34s. And then I'm just gonna walk away for a bit. I've actually got a call at 1, so I will be a little upset if 38s is that low there and it doesn't actually ever break 34s, but it realistically shouldn't have pulled back like that. We should have kept moving. So I'm gonna leave the Q's calls on. I want to leave those on for sure. And then yeah, we'll see what this wants to do. We'll find another entry, whether it's today or tomorrow here. And I do think there's at least 1 or 2 more good trades this week. Apple earnings coming up. Meta's actually been rallying back pretty decent, so second-day earnings move in there could be nice, especially if Apple does well. So, but yeah. Anyways, that's what I got. I'm gonna wrap it up and call it a day here, and I will check back in later. Don't get in trouble here. I'm still small red on the day, and I'm totally okay with that. Like I said, it could be a massive green day. And the one thing I don't want to do is turn it into a massive red day trying to get in my own head about that. So, anyways, that's what I got. I will check back in a little bit, but trade safe or don't trade at all here. And if nothing else, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate it.